I find that the battle I've been fighting the most, that's been taking most of my energy nowadays, is self-esteem. I feel like I don't have a good understanding of who I am, and I don't have a good relationship with my understanding of who I am. And I feel like if you are not projecting approval onto yourself, then you are subconsciously tearing yourself down. It's a hard balance because you want more, but you are not always what you want. It's like we know better. If we didn't know better than what we were all the time, then there would be no change. There's this like contrast, this dichotomy within us where part of you is the observer and part of you is the actor. There is the me that is aware of me, and then there's the me that is just like me. I might even say something that while I'm saying it, I'm just like, what is wrong with you? Like, why'd you just say that? Like, I think humans give each other way too much credit. Like, we are not always in control. And it's not like everything everyone says is like totally fully thought out. It's not even like everything everyone says is an exact representation of how they feel. In fact, like sometimes I say something that's not even how I feel at all. It was just like circumstantially, it just like made the most sense for me to say that thing. And then after I said it, I'm just like, what? It's like, and then once you realize that, it's like, you don't have to take yourself so seriously, and you don't have to take other people so seriously. You don't have to be as offended or as embarrassed as you think you need to be. It's like, if only we could all just put our guards down and realize like nobody's perfect, we're all just trying our best, and we might even know better, and it's just not that simple. And it's funny, that's how it is. Like, I'm aware of all my flaws, I'm not aware of all the flaws, but I'm aware of some of my flaws and I'm trying to work on them. But just simply being aware of them like doesn't make them change right away. Like, I'm even aware that I'm not aware of it. Like, I don't even really know who I am. When you really sit down and contemplate it, it's like, I'm just me, and I'm just like an observer like everybody else is. And you might even know him better than I do, because I have a lot of blind spots. It seems like everybody's got some crazy blind spot where it's like obvious to everybody else, but to them it's just like, because it's who you are, you just don't even see it at all. And it's funny that nobody's good at taking criticism. We don't want to be aware that there's something bad about ourselves. Because of that battle with self-esteem, it's almost like we'd rather live in an illusion of what we are in order to have an upper hand and approval about ourselves, rather than actually striving for perfection all the time and being willing to look at our weaknesses. Like, if someone were to point out to me like one of my biggest weaknesses, probably my first reaction would be to get defensive. Not gonna lie, I think everybody's is, for the most part. Like, I want to be a better person all the time, and probably like once I become aware I'm defensive, I'll be like, okay, like what am I doing? Like, I'm just getting in my own way here. But yeah, it's funny. It's like we're protecting it so well that we are reluctant to change. We are resisting progress in a massive way. If only everybody had the humility to be open to every type of change all the time. It's almost like we have preferences. I like certain aspects of self and personality, and I lean this way on the spectrum of personality, and so I'm resisting change in these other directions, and now I might be stagnant a little bit. I might be biased on the spectrum of personality, where I'm just gonna keep doing this because that's what I like, even if there's something wrong with it. I'm just gonna live in the illusion that it's fine and it doesn't need to change. And then it's like you might only surround yourself with certain types of people because they match with what you like about personality. And I just think that that's a little bit foolish. I think that it's almost like you're avoiding the inevitable. Like, I think that we should always be changing. Personally, I think you die the day you stop being willing to change as a person. I truly see a lot of people just don't change. It's almost like one day they couldn't face it anymore. Their self-esteem couldn't take even a single loss anymore. And it doesn't have to be a loss, but you see it as a loss when you have to admit to yourself that there's something wrong with you. Would you rather be in the illusion of perfection, or would you rather be a constant student? You could look at it that way. Like, I have something to learn. And I guess admitting that to myself, I'm realizing that, well, I'm not perfect. I'm not who I want to be yet. And yeah, maybe there comes with a little bit of a defeat if you have to see it that way. Only if you identify so strongly with what you are that you have to get defeated when you realize that you are not who you want to be. But I think when that happens, if you could walk around all the time like you are not who you want to be, but you embrace that you are happy to be the man that is always improving, and I think that's as close to perfection as you can get. So, in that way, I think humanity has a lot to learn. I think that we all would like to pretend like we're the master, and there has to be a little bit of arrogance that comes along with that. In order to get away with it, you have to hide from yourself. You have to constantly reinforce what is, instead of opening up to what could be. And if you are defending tooth and nail to the death what you are already, then you are resisting change at every turn in the road, and you will stay the same, and that is not power. That is not where power comes from. We must embrace change. We must be a consistent student of ourselves and everyone around us, because everyone around us has a different bias of personality. They're somewhere else on the spectrum with something to change about us. If we could simply accept them unconditionally and see that we could be much more like them in a way, and add something to our own arsenal of personality. We have something to learn from everybody despite their intelligence. Everybody is infinitely unique. Kind of like a snowflake. I think that we're infinitely unique, in fact. That in every single way that is completely you, it is unique to someone else, even if it's comparable, even if it's on the same part of the spectrum, it's coming from a different angle. It's like, I like to think of it this way. We are all looking at a sphere, but every single one of us is looking at it from a different angle. And although when we talk about it, it's the same, we're all describing the same thing, we're all looking at it from a completely different direction. We're all experiencing the same reality, but we all feel totally differently about it. And I think everybody's is equally valid. Like, why are we all arguing about opinions? Like, why does it even matter what someone else feels? Like, are they not right to their opinion? Like, how you feel is you, and like to you, if that's what makes the most sense. Like, if somebody tells me something like super outlandish, unless they're just like messing with me, I'm just gonna assume that you actually believe what you're saying. I'm not gonna like try to change your perspective to what mine is right away. I'm not just gonna be like, no, like you should feel the way I feel. I don't want you to be like me. I don't need the whole world to conform to my belief system and my personality. I think it should be the other way around. There's just one me and almost 9 billion other perspectives for me to look at. And as long as I maintain that perspective as I walk through life, I find that I don't get in as much trouble with people. And I think I make friends very easily for that reason, because I accept people the way they are. I think everybody is right to who they are, and we all have something to learn from that. And in a way, we don't really know why we are. It's not like everyone's so reasonable that they are who they are because they think that that's the best way to be. I don't think that's how it is at all. I don't think it's the mind that gets to decide who you are. I kind of think it's the other way around. I think humans like to pretend that the mind always has full control of the rest of the self, but I think the mind is just a product of our past. It's literally just our past experiences. We're using rationality to direct our thoughts. We want to feel like we have some concrete direction and some... we want to feel like we have control over everything, so we are rationalizing everything, but I don't think it's necessarily the mind that has control. I think it's just fighting against fear. We are using our thoughts to understand everything because we are afraid of what we don't understand. It's a survival mechanism, but it's not necessarily the best thing for us. Like, if we are resisting everything that we don't understand because it's not already within our awareness. If somebody says something you've never heard before about something you feel that you are an expert on, and your first reaction is like, actually, you know, like this and this and this, like they might have something that you don't have. You might be missing an opportunity here. And there's nothing worse than the person that comes around and there's an expert at every single topic, like the walking Dunning-Kruger effect. Like, they've seen one TikTok video and they, like, when something gets brought up, they want to talk infinitely about it, even though, like, they might be the least educated in the room on this certain topic. Like, it's that arrogance that comes from having a low self-esteem. It's almost like you're battling with yourself and your own approval. You want to feel good about who you are, so you want to feel like you have a grip on everything and you're the master all the time. And to some degree, we need that. We have to believe that we are the best. We have to. It's like, you must believe that you are competent at all the things, but also don't fool yourself, you know? Like, don't give yourself such a blind spot. We must accept ourselves and love ourselves unconditionally, but we also must treat ourselves like we're totally imperfect and we're mental patients, because I assure you, every single person in this world has a blind spot, and I'm sure to the people around you it's totally obvious, and they might think that you're crazy for not seeing it. And it's so funny because, like, every person that comes to my mind, I could probably, like, tell you one, like, instantly, like the biggest one. And I guarantee if I pointed out to someone else, they would see that too. And it's like, I'm sure I have plenty of them. It's just funny that, like, if you were vulnerable enough, like if you felt totally comfortable with someone and they pitched it to you in the right way, they just might be able to get you to see it the same way that they do, and then they might, like, change that about you forever.